Hey, y'all, it's KBR Sports, the best sports talk show of your 24-hour day. I'm your host, Brendan Abbott, with my two co-hosts, Khaled Lewis to my right, Rashad Pennell to my left. Coming to you on WODU Studios, the best in college radio. How y'all doing today, guys? You know, early Wednesday morning, fellas. It's looking a little bit rainy outside. Just came inside. I was a little confused. I mean, you see, I'm wearing a rain jacket. I mean, I was just like, oh well.
Roasting.
Yeah, man, I'm hot as I'm. I mean, that's why I wear the light one. You see, the other like bright gray one I have. I was like, man, it's gonna be hot today. So I was like, you know what? Let me wear the slight one real quick, and hopefully I'll be good enough with it. Then it starts raining, and I'm like, huh.
Yeah, I had to go back and get my jacket myself.
Yeah, I was a little confused, but how y'all feeling today?
Well, let me tell you about this, man.
Let me tell.
Smooth. I mean, KO'd last night out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
KO. Forgot to set my alarm clocks, man.
Mm-hmm.
I wake up at 3 o'clock, bro. I'm in there like, yo, what's good? Like,
Mm-hmm.
what time is it? I gotta be at work at 6. I'm like, oh, something blessed me there. Set my alarms, made it in time. Now it's time to talk to sports.
How about you, Khaled? How you feeling, bro? Ham?
I'm Gucci. I
Gucci.
feel like I'm gonna be sick after the day's over.
Stop wearing short sleeves then.
But I got on the jacket too. I can't wear the jacket. I'm gonna be hot. It's black.
Hey, what you want to do? You want to get sick? You want to be warm, hot,
I might have to get an umbrella. That's the only other option.
bro?
Well, Rashad has his own opinion about it. Apparently, you see him looking at you. He's like, bro, you tripping?
An umbrella ain't gonna stop the cold weather from hitting you. It may be warm, but it's still cold. Hey, it may be hot, but it's in Norfolk. It's cold.
Wait.
No, really though.
It don't matter what the temperature is. If it's wintertime and it's if it's 80 degrees in Norfolk in winter, that's sickness weather.
He said that is
sickness weather.
You gotta stay wrapped up no matter what. As long as it says winter.
As long as it says winter, amen.
As long as it says winter.
I'm so weak.
The man's gonna be sweating later on.
Has to. Hey, at least I won't be sick though.
Rashad, so how do you approach the Norfolk winter weather? How do you approach it?
I look out the window in the morning. I look at the ground. If it's wet, I put a jacket on. If it's dry, I put my pea coat on. So that's how I go.
Wait, but
Because when it's dry, it's cold. When it's wet, it's always hot. It's just hot, cold rain. So you gotta put like a raincoat type thing on.
You even check the weather report to see like
I do a little something like that. See that I did check it today, and that dictated the coat I wore because I'm about to throw my pea coat on with the quickness. Been there sweating. I mean, I'm talking about
sweating.
I'm talking about like I put a bottle of water on me.
oh my gosh, what? Y'all funny, man. Y'all funny. Y'all are funny. But I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. These guys are just funny. But all right, y'all. We're gonna get into the sports talk. Topics for today, fellas and ladies who are watching. These topics of today are going to consist of, we're going to get into some talk about RG3 and possible landing spots after the Redskins president officially let it be known that he would not be coming back to join the team and that they were going to be releasing him. And then we're also going to get into talking about Ben Simmons and the one and done rule and talking about is it even like a point in having it instituted, because apparently it seems as though the players don't take they're not really invested fully in the college and the whole college mindset. And then we'll also get into talking about the most underrated NBA players. You know what I mean? So we're gonna get into talking about who of all the NBA players in the league, who we believe is the most underrated.
Oh, and Marc Gasol.
Yeah, and we'll also get into Marc Gasol's injury and talk about him in the Western and how his injury impacts the Western Conference. But yeah, everyone, to start off, RG3, he recently, the Redskins president, just yesterday, released a statement saying that RG3 would not be returning to the team. That he pretty much just expanded on what everybody else knew, but we had yet to hear from any of the Redskins management officially saying that he's going to be gone. This is what the president had to say. He said, "I see Robert getting an opportunity for another team. We've heard from some teams that are interested. I think he's going to have a choice of a couple teams that will let him excel in the future." From the very beginning, Robert has handled himself like a professional, Allen said. When we drafted him all the way through, he's been a good teammate and a good guy. I know people on the outside always like to be critical, but his teammates like him, his coaches like him. He does have some special talents, and we wish him well. So that shows that, they're pretty much they're fully saying, okay, well, this is the end of the RG3 era in Washington. So, guys, what do you guys think of possible landing spots for RG3? Oh, sorry, guys. I always forget.
I was gonna do it. For you. That's all good. I'm glad you
forgot.
remember.
Yeah. You guys, make sure you guys tweet us you can tweet us some of your comments and responses at KBR_sports, and you can tweet us individually at our Twitter handles. You just go to our KBR Sports page, and you'll see we're in the following or the followers. Under there, you'll see our Twitter handles. You can tweet us, and we'll read your tweets out loud. You can also comment on YouTube, so we can read your comments out loud on YouTube. And anybody that wants to join in, you can watch us on Spreaker and Rabble and comment on the Rabblecast if you want us to read your comments out loud on here on the show. And you can call in at 757-683-4405. Is that all, Rashad? Did I get it all?
Don't forget about tomorrow. There's the WLD Studios events at Work Release. Make sure you go back to the Throwback Thursday event. Starts at 9 to 2. Make sure you go out and enjoy some old school music. Have a good time. You know, if everybody at ODU, everybody around Norfolk and Hampton Roads area, make sure you come through. Come support WLDU Studios. Hey.
This is a story all about how my life got turned upside down, and I like to take a moment, just sit right here. I tell you all about how
everybody looking at the podcast like, but the sports.
Right? People listening, they're like, wait a minute. Yeah, they're like, hold on a second, wait. So I thought they were talking about sports. All right, guys.
So about this RG3 situation.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it's been clear that he's not coming back to Washington. I mean, everybody knew that before it was announced yesterday.
Yes.
So looking at it, you look at teams that actually use him. I still think the 49ers is a team that can use him, even though, you know, they're talking about having faith in Colin Kaepernick again, reviving his career. And I'm just like, hold on. You got Blaine Gabbert the Great there. So you don't need no Colin Kaepernick. Don't look at me like that. You know how I feel about my Jaguars natives.
Oh my God.
Rashad.
So anyway,
talk about somebody non-subjectively.
I did it. I just said Blaine Gabbert. I talked about the team talking about how they would need him there.
No, you talked about how they wouldn't need him there
because of Colin Kaepernick. No. I said they want to start Colin Kaepernick over Blaine Gabbert, which is the mistake. Now RG3 can come in and make an impact there because he's gonna fit in the offense. You also have teams like the Browns who are also struggling for a quarterback. You can kind of say the Texans. You can say the Texans, even though they have Brian Hoyer, who actually played. Yeah, he played decent. We got the team to the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
But they can use a new quarterback there who can spread the field out. There's a lot of bad teams. I mean, you can also even look at the Broncos if Peyton Manning doesn't come back. Like, do you want Brock Osweiler, or do you want who can move in the pocket, who can throw, or do you want an all-around athlete who we can see that actually can pass the ball? And someone like RG3.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you think about it, with Anderson and Hillman, you can run a pretty decent read option game there.
Yes.
So it goes into a lot of factors who can get them, but of those teams that I listed, I feel like those are more of the top teams who should be looking forward to him. Don't try to bring him to Dallas. Just don't do that. Jerry Jones has a tendency to do stuff like this. Don't do it.
Why, man? He loves some.
He loves some media players.
Hey, he loves some splash, man.
Because they got the offensive line to help him out.
He's not going to start over Romo.
I mean, nah, but if Romo get hurt,
but this is the thing. I feel like RG3 needs to be a starter in the league. I feel like he can't come off the bench and be productive. That's how I feel. I feel like you're gonna have RG3 starting the game off in order to get into the groove. If you bring him in late into a game, I feel like he'll break the team down even more.
Okay, Khaled, what do you think about RG3?
RG3, I kind of feel the opposite way. I feel like he needs some more time to learn, because most of the time he's played, like his first season, it was good and all. He was great, but he still had like problems with staying in the pocket or falling back outside the pocket, not too many steps or something like that, or too many steps, or one of the two. But he was still having problems with like the QB position, and there was still some notable faults, even though he led the team to the playoffs. I think that he could benefit from a backup position somewhere with a QB that can throw accurately, like very well. One of the spots that I was thinking of was the Broncos. not necessarily because of the throwing aspect, but maybe because after, like you were saying, if Peyton Manning doesn't come back or if he leaves, it'll be a great addition to have him in that team because I think he'll work well with that offense, and the defense would be a great addition for him as well. So like he can learn from the whole organization. Of course, the Browns because their QB they had just bad selections with QBs. And what was the other one? I was kind of like low key thinking they might do some Cowboy stuff or they might do some Philadelphia Eagles stuff and pull them in.
Before you go, Brendan, I forgot to mention y'all need a quarterback to it in Los Angeles.
How did y'all not bring up the Rams?
Y'all need a quarterback in Los Angeles.
Rams are begging.
Y'all need something in Los Angeles.
Man.
So.
Hey,
new team, new me. Bring in RG3.
New team, new me.
I like how you made a rhyme, though. I like how you made a rhyme. You know what I mean? But yeah, the Rams need a quarterback so bad. It is just honestly so embarrassing watching us play and then watching. When you see people put 9 to 10 people in the box, that shows they don't fear your throwing game at all. That's such an insult. Like, think about that. They got 9 to 10 people. There's only 11 players on the field on each side of the ball. So you got 9 to 10 players dedicated to the running back. Everybody was dedicated to stopping Todd Gurley, and Nick Foles and Casey Keenum couldn't get it to work either way. They couldn't take advantage of that. I'm just like, man, Teddy Bridgewater at least makes something happen when people stack the box when Adrian Peterson, people are dedicated to stopping Adrian Peterson. But when it comes to the Todd Gurley dedication, nobody can help him. It's embarrassing. But I mean, I sit there and think about it. See, I don't know if we should change the question to what team, because those are all landing spots he go to. But what teams do y'all think he'll most likely land on? Which team do you think is most likely for him to land on? Because me personally, because of the Browns' high draft pick, I believe they're going to take a quarterback. Probably going to take Carson Wentz. But I honestly feel like he probably will go to a team like the Rams. I mean, we're in Los Angeles now. You know, who doesn't like La La Land? I mean, come on now, sunshine, just the night that just got nice weather, and then
just got nice weather.
Yeah, I mean, trust me, there's a lot of things that come with Los Angeles, the market, and RG3's married, but the woman, all of it is nice in Los Angeles. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you now, it's all nice in Los Angeles. Everything's nice. The animals are nice in Los Angeles. The animal.
You got top quality zoos.
Yeah. the malls are great. I mean, it's Lakerland, man. It's Clippers land, and then you can try and bring back what was the greatest show on turf, even though that was in St. Louis. You can try and bring that to Los Angeles by bringing RG3 there and pairing him with a running back like Todd Gurley, who shows that he can be a 1,000-yard running without a quarterback. You know what I mean? So he has talent on both sides of the ball to help. I mean, I don't know how the Rams defense is going to look this upcoming season now that they let go of James Laurinaitis and Chris Long and those other guys, but they still have a good foundation there that he could go there. He could enjoy Los Angeles. You never know. But where do you guys think he's most likely to land at? Colin, let me hear your take first. What do you think?
Damn, the Rams do need a quarterback.
Yeah, even on the Rabble, D Sizzle commented and said the NFL needs the Rams to be good again. It's been so long, bro. Trust me, you just don't know, man. It's been so long, man. Trust me. Every single year I sit there, I was like, maybe next year. Maybe next year.
The life of a Rams fan.
Yeah, man. And it's rough.
Hey, don't feel bad.
See him falling in the Rams. Maybe the Rams.
You see, this is how I feel about it. You look at that, like, who needs RG3? Who really can put that trust into somebody who hasn't played productive since his rookie year?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like he's a bad quarterback. Don't get me wrong. He's a very good quarterback. He took the team to playoffs rookie year, was accurate, could make plays with his feet. He's a really good quarterback. But since he's been so unproductive when he has been in the game since his injury, who really wants to take that chance? Yeah, you have a lot of teams that aren't the top picks, which is why I feel like, do the Rams really want to try to edge for him, or they want to try to draft somebody who's younger and healthier? That's why I'm like, there's all these teams that want them, but I don't know exactly where he would land at. It's just it's too rough, like too hazy for me to actually say. Yeah, I see him going right here to St. Louis. Yeah, something like that.
It's all because of the injury.
His injury has a big part to do with it, because can you trust him to play like he did his rookie year?
That's true. And I see a comment from Mick Flipstein. I hope I read your name right, but he said you think Jeff Fisher is the right coach for them. Honestly, I honestly don't even know, because Jeff Fisher, apart from Vince Young, honestly, once upon a time when he won Rookie of the Year at Tennessee, I haven't seen Jeff Fisher coach a quarterback to effectiveness. I mean, I saw Zach Mettenberger have a good few games. Nick Foles has been like obsolete. Casey Keenum came in. He wasn't bad, but he wasn't good. That's all it was. He was just there. That's all it was. Like he honestly just suited up. He didn't turn the ball over crazy but I mean he didn't do anything. You had Todd Gurley in the backfield. So I don't know if Jeff Fisher is the right coach for him, honestly, but we got to think about it because when RG3 was most productive was when he had the read option with Kyle Shanahan and Mike Shanahan. And that whole team offense was geared around RG3. I mean, you could implement some of that in Los Angeles, but like Rashad said, his injury, you don't know if he's going to move the same as he did his rookie season. I mean, he coming out of college, coming from Baylor, he did come off of that ACL surgery initially already. But I mean, I don't know, coming off another one, and then your ankle has given you issues too.
That's why I feel like he would want to go to a place with a better offensive line.
See, also in Los Angeles, how are we actually viewing Todd Gurley? Are we viewing him as a scat back or a power back?
Todd Gurley,
kind of is he capable of like the read option running it well? Super effective.
I think Todd Gurley can run a read option. I think you have any running back, any mobile quarterback, any mobile running back can do the read option well. Like Marshawn Lynch is a power back. They run the read option to perfection in Seattle when he was there. When Marshawn Lynch was there, they ran the read option to perfection with him and Russell Wilson.
But I mean, he was in like a category with AP though. That was power and finesse.
Even Colin Kaepernick and Frank Gore ran it well.
Colin Kaepernick ran it well. Frank Gore just got the heavy, big hard yards. He got those hard 3-4 yards.
Don't sleep on Frank Gore. Frank Gore rushed for 1,000 yards like almost every season. So I mean,
I said he got those hard 3-4 yards.
But
that adds up. That's 4 yards carries is not bad.
Exactly. So that's all you need for the read option. All you need is a running back.
Hey, not in Los Angeles. You need big plays.
Come on, man.
Need big plays. Come on now. Think about when Tavon Austin ran the ball on reverses and stuff. 30-40 yards to carry.
You can run a read option with Tavon Austin. It don't matter who it is. You can run a read option with anybody.
That's what hurts the team. If you put him in a running back for the read option, we know it's a run play. Everybody's in the box.
No, you can have. Sometimes the Rams run options with Tavon Austin for a screen. They put him at running back. He runs out first. You can put both of them at running back. Honestly,
you're taking away your biggest threat at receiver. Then
trust me, he ain't the big. Tavon's biggest threat, bro. When you watch the Rams, trust me, Tavon's the most yards he gets is on the ground, bro.
So who's your biggest threat then?
Todd Gurley. That's
receiving threat.
Oh, receiving threat. It's been Kenny Britt or Tavon, honestly.
He said Tavon does.
No, but I'm saying but most of that comes out of the backfield. That's my point. He's been dangerous when they've used him out of the backfield or in the receiver slot position, but. Most times if you put him out as like a normal receiver or anything, you don't play him in the slot. Tavon Austin just disappears. Like he just turns into a ghost. I don't know what happens.
There's not RGD won't have enough weapons like he did in Washington with the Rams. Because think about his receivers he had. He had some nice receivers to complement him.
Mm-hmm.
He won't have that in St. Louis. All he has is a running back, which the read optional work, but when it comes to passing the ball, you have to have these players to get open. Like you said, Tavon Austin disappears when these players out more. Kenny Britt is prone to injury. So like kind of like what are you looking at? What are you looking like y'all free agency game is crazy for the receiver slot.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just don't see as the likely spot for RG3 to go. Or I can't. Yeah.
Because I agree that because in Washington you did have Deshaun Jackson, you did have Pierre Garçon. You did. I don't know. Jordan Reed wasn't as.
Hey, you got to think about Alfred Morris had a great year that too.
Alfred Morris had a great year, and in conjunction with RG3.
Yeah,
his great year was somewhat bounced off of RG3. So you know what I mean. So that they kind of balance one another out, helping each other. Because now we saw what Alfred Morris had, how he performed this past season. Now Matt Jones is looking like the primary running back for the Redskins. And we got some funny comments here. D Sizzle tweeted commented a picture that has me weak. And then Football's America said Jeff Fisher is the Patrick Swayze of coaches, a washed-up action star with a bad mullet. Man, just coming for Jeff Fisher. And then D Sizzle said, "You guys fans of Katie Nolan, garbage time pod." In parentheses, she did a bit with Gurley during Super Bowl week. That was pretty funny. And then Football's America said, I want to see Jeff Fisher ride off into the sunset, never to be seen again.
Hey, if Jeff Fisher's like this, he needs to go. Hey,
bro, I'm telling you, man.
Skip college, go back to high school. Skip college, go to high school.
Come on, man. Don't do my man Jeff Fisher like that. Man. Come on.
When has Jeff Fisher really been a winner? In the National Football League.
Bro, I don't know if I was alive to remember, honestly. I'm just playing.
When has he been a winner?
I think it was Chris Johnson's 2,000-yard season. They went to the playoffs, actually.
He wasn't a winner. They made the playoffs.
I mean, they made the playoffs. I mean, it's something. Making the playoffs is a big deal. Hello, callers. KBR Sports, the best sports talk show of your 24-hour day. How can we help you?
Hey, just wanted to call and talk about this RG3 situation real quick.
Uh-huh.
All right, he will get a second chance. If he was smart, it would be with St. Louis or the Texans. The Texans do not like spending draft picks on quarterbacks, and when they do, it's always really late, so they pick up a scrub like Christian Hackenberg, and it wouldn't work, and then they'd be in the same situation again. St. Louis, first of all, I'm really shocked at the lack of knowledge on the Tennessee Titans history. Jeff Fisher has worked with more mobile quarterbacks than Vince Young, a.k.a. future Hall of Famer Steve McNair, but we just don't speak about that. As far as what Mr. Panel said about him having better wide receivers in Washington, that is not a fact.
Wait. Wait. You're telling me Kenny Britt and Tavon Austin are better than Deshaun Jackson and Pierre Garçon?
RG3 didn't have Deshaun Jackson when he was playing. He played with Deshaun Jackson for one game. Pierre Garçon drops balls as much as he catches them. You just don't see it because Kirk Cousins was throwing the ball to Jordan Reed, who RG3 also didn't have.
You're right.
I can't let you get away with this.
But Tavon Austin disappears.
Kenny Britt drops a lot of balls in damn self. And
Kenny Britt does drop balls.
Than Pierre Garçon. And Deshaun Jackson was there for 2 of the seasons RG3 still was playing and named the starter. He was still there. When
RG3 played in one game with Deshaun Jackson, broke his ankle. They started Colt McCoy and Kirk Cousins. Both of them were trash that season, so he came back for like 2 more games. You really want to call that a season with a great receiver, with a good receiver? Come on. Right. Really, 3 games equates to a season with a good receiver. And as far as Tavon Austin disappearing, I'm pretty sure you would disappear too if you were the fastest guy on the field and your quarterback could only throw it 10 yards. Into double coverage, I would disappear too. When your quarterback is getting crushed like Nick Foles was behind the line.
Colin, I got some comments for you. Football's America commented and said, hell no, McNair was already there when Jeff Fisher got there. He was already a great quarterback, and Fisher made him terrible. That's why he left and went to the Ravens.
I'm not understanding how Fisher made him terrible when they went to the Super Bowl when Fisher was head coach. He then left because the Titans as an organization decided not to sign him back. And then he went to the Ravens where he went 13-3 and lost in the first round of the playoffs, the same thing he was pretty much doing with the Titans. So that comment, although I respect what he is saying, I do not agree with.
But at the same time, like the comment said, he was already developed basically. So Jeff Fisher basically just came there and already had to develop Steve McNair and led him to the Super Bowl.
I mean, I don't know if develop is first couple years of in the league, but if that's what y'all think, that's cool.
But he made it to the Super Bowl, so it's not like he didn't make it and then he did make it. You know what I'm saying? Like
so but I'm saying, but he made it to the Super Bowl without a coach, right? He still was on the team that went to the Super Bowl. He had a major role in the team that went to the Super Bowl. You can't discredit the fact that he was the head coach and went to the Super Bowl. You can't get a quarterback in year 2 and be like, oh, yeah, he was already developed. Development goes on for a very long time. You could not be a fully developed quarterback until year 5 or 6. He came in and took that team to the Super Bowl. Sadly, they lost to the Rams, but they went to the only Super Bowl the Titans have ever been in. So I'm not going to discredit Jeff Fisher and the job that he did on that team. I'm not saying he's a great coach right now. I don't think he should even be coaching the Rams. I'm just not going to discredit what he's done.
But the man hasn't had a winning season in how long? Since
his time. Did I not just say he shouldn't be coaching?
What'd you say?
I just said he shouldn't be coaching literally like 30 seconds ago.
No, I'm saying that he hasn't had a winning season in so long. But that's my case in point. We're talking about where RG3 should go. So should he be going to a team that has a coach that hasn't been able to lead his team to an above 500 record and since he was with his last team.
And that's why I said the other option as far as the Houston Texans. I gave you two teams. I gave you the Rams and the Texans, but I had to defend Jeff Fisher off the bat. Okay. I think the Texans would be a good choice because they have a young, great talent, DeAndre Hopkins, and they have that great defense, but they no longer have a running back. So they're going to have to resolve that situation. But in a weak division that they're in, he could possibly do numbers because the Jaguars secondary is horrible, the Titans secondary is horrible, the Colts secondary is horrible. The only team that's going to give him any sort of bump would be the Colts, and that's if Andrew Suck can stay on the field.
No, wait. I agree. I agree. The secondary is all horrible in that division. But I said RG3 was accurate. I never said he was a precision passer. He's not going to sit there and light up a team passing the ball. A lot of what made him great was plays with his feet. So you can't sit here and say he goes to Houston. And I mean, yes, like he does have DeAndre Hopkins. He does have one of the best receivers in the league right now. But he's not going to torch a team up like that, like he was in a pocket passer. He still needs to make plays with his feet in order to be great.
Yeah, and that's the thing. They have draft picks this year to get the people that they would need to surround him with, and they have the cap room. And think about it, they have the team. They can go to certain teams and offer them less money than the Titans or Jaguars would and be like, hey, you want to win now, you come here, we'll put you with RG3. They can get him some nice little spot receivers to run some short routes. They can get him a fast little running back like Doug Martin, who's on the open market, to run the read option with, and he will be absolutely fine. And then Brian Hoyer was lighting people up with DeAndre Hopkins alone. He was having games of 200 yards and being the only person catching a ball.
I have a quick thing to say to you. So you said that RG3 and Deshaun Jackson only played 3 games together, right?
It won't exactly be 3, but it shouldn't be a lot of games that they played together.
Well, they played 9 games together. And I mean, 9 games together. We saw how RG3 and those receivers perform with one another. And that receiving core, you can say that receiving core is better than the receiving core he would go to Los Angeles and have with the Rams. Because he did have Deshaun Jackson. Deshaun Jackson played the whole 2014 season with the Redskins, and then RG3 played 9 of those games. So he had those receivers with him in Washington, and then you go to the Rams with lesser receivers. If you want to make everybody wants to argue because Deshaun Jackson is better than Tavon Austin. Yeah. I mean, Tavon Austin is explosive. He's just as explosive as Deshaun. You're right, but Deshaun is bigger than Tavon and has better hands than Tavon. And then Kenny Britt and the Pierre Garçon. I mean, I'll take Pierre Garçon over Kenny Britt because when I watch Kenny Britt in week in and week out, it's sad, man. It's sad sometimes. Because sometimes, man, you see the balls there and you're like, okay, he's done. Nick Foles threw it on point, and then Kenny Britt just lets me down. He just lets me down. He can't help it.
And Carl, also got to say, hold on, before you say something, Carl, I also got to say, why would some of these players want to go to a Texans team, especially these offensive players, instead of going to a team like Oakland Raiders or Jacksonville, who has the highest salary cap that can pay them more money and also one of the more complete offensive teams in the game? Offensively, both of those teams have really strong offense. So why wouldn't these players want to go where they can get more money and go to a strong offense that just needs to work on defense both ways?
Here's the thing with that. The Texans have already shown that they are a better team than both of those teams are making it to the playoffs. And another one of those things that you said could be a strength can also be a deterrent. Why, as a wide receiver, would I want to go to a team with a strong offense and possibly not play when I could go to the Texans and be a superstar because they only got one wide receiver?
No, this is more so about the running back. Like Jacksonville, like you said, Doug Martin. Why would Doug Martin want to go to Houston when he has no pieces but DeAndre Hopkins there, when he can go and play with 2 great receivers in Allen Hurns and Allen Robinson and have the running back there, which will open the floor up for him more because you have to watch those 2 receivers?
See, but the question that you're asking me is the answer to the same question.
It's not. Why would you want to play for the
Jaguars? No, again, running back. Why would you want to play for the Jaguars? The question is the answer. There's such a negative connotation with that team, regardless of young talent and money. There's a negative connotation with the word Jaguars. You think loser.
You don't think loser.
Same thing with the Raiders. It's the same thing with the Raiders. So if you have a team like the Texans who has a decent amount of cap room, is willing to give you a pretty good contract for your age in the league, and you know that you have a significant chance to get into the playoffs, why would you endanger that to take just a touch more money to be on a team where you may or may not be used the correct way? Because the Jaguars didn't run the ball that great this year.
Because they didn't have a running back to do it well.
Playoffs. They had TJ Yeldon, they didn't use him.
Come on now.
That
We
was
saw
the problem.
TJ Yeldon averaging
Man.
2.3 yards per carry. That's not that good.
Okay, but you also have to run people more than 15 carries per game to get him more than 2 yards per carry.
No,
The Jaguars
it's
get
2
in the
yards
red
per
zone
carry. That means every
and
time you
pass
touch
the
the ball,
ball
2.5
3
yards.
times. What? So you're going to make an excuse for a team getting in the red zone at the 1 yard line and passing the ball 3 times and then blame that on the running back? Come on. That's
You
coaching
make
and
it seem like
offensive
that was every
coordinator's
possession.
decisions.
Jacksonville's red zone first play was always the run play, which barely got any yards because our running backs were inefficient. Then you try to throw to your 2 best receivers, which Allen Hurns and Allen Robinson, both 6'4" receivers that can go for the jump ball. They're actually speedy as well. So I understand why you pass the ball 3 times. Cowboys used to do it all the time as well with Des Bryant. You throw the fade 3-4 times. You have a tall receiver that can make plays. You want to give the players to make plays. If TJ Yeldon can't make the plays, then you want to give them the ball.
Hold on, guys. Hold on. I see comments from the Rabblecast that people are saying that Football is America is saying because players want the money, they'll go to a team. They don't care about the scheme. McFlipstein said, don't overanalyze too much. Most players will go to the paycheck. And Football America also said that players do not take less money unless they are the Packers. That's it.
Just the Packers, though. But to address this point, I still don't believe in this whole giving up in the TJ Yeldon situation because you also didn't have that great of an offensive line on that team. You didn't run the ball as much as you advertised going into the season, and then you gave up on the guy halfway through the season. So going and trying to get another running back, if I'm a running back, I'm looking at your team like, okay, well, they don't run it that much. They don't go to an offensive line, and they're probably not going to improve it over the draft or the free agency because they need secondary help. And they have a history of not making the playoffs. Or I could go here and possibly make the exact same amount of money that I would make there, make the playoffs, and possibly go further because we have a great defense, whatever quarterback they're going to put in place, a great wide receiver, and an up-and-coming coaching staff. I'm not saying that the Jaguars have no possibility of getting anyone on the open market because they will. Just like those people said, paycheck speaks, money talks. They'll probably sign some big-name veteran that's going to come there for a huge paycheck and then get there and be lazy because he's on the Jaguars. And sadly, that's the reality in the league.
That's not the reality because Julius Thomas came in and still played efficiently when he came off injury.
Yeah, what about Chris Clemens?
Chris Clemens, he didn't play awful. I mean,
Chris Clemens didn't do a thing. They're talking about cutting the man. I'm just saying, for the amount of money you paid him, has he given you that amount of play?
You have to pay people money. That's kind of like Jordan Hill got like a crazy contract. You have to spend a certain amount of money each year.
If you're the Jaguars, you have to spend a certain amount of money.
All teams got to spend a certain amount of money each year. So some people are going to get Ryan Tannehill deserves the money he got. He deserves $100 million.
No, I'm not.
You gotta spend money in order to.
You're changing the argument. Look, you're changing the argument. I am saying if you are the Jacksonville Jaguars, you have to overpay some of these people to come and play for you, and you will not always get their best effort because they're on the Jaguars. Guys will come and collect their paycheck and sit on your team, and then they will go to another team and make less money that has a chance to go to the playoffs and possibly the Super Bowl and give it 1,000%. It is a reality. It is not just the Jaguars. It happens to the Titans. It happens to other bad teams around the league. You have to overpay for talent that other teams could get on a bargain for them to play maybe 70%. Maybe, if they feel like it.
All right, say your last
we have no control over that.
Yeah, okay, caller, and I agree with you. But the Texans isn't the team that you want to go to and take less money and only play 110%. You know what I'm saying? The Texans is just they made the playoffs, but you got to think Andrew Luck was hurt all season. That's not a team that you want to say, I'll take less money. They have a chance to make a Super Bowl because they don't.
They have a better chance than the Titans and Jaguars.
We'll see this year.
All right, caller. We appreciate you calling in. And maybe you want to call in again for another topic, because the rest of the topics we're going to talk about is the Marcus Saul injury and then how it shakes up the Western Conference standings now. And then we're going to go into the Ben Simmons and then how the one and done rule might be ineffective in a sense. And then also we're going to talk about the top underrated players in the NBA. So if you want to call in later on to join in on those topics, we'd love to have you on.
Hey, guys, for anybody else who wants to call in as well, it's 757-683-4405.
All right, boys. Have a good rest of the show. I might call in a little bit later. Bless up. Sensational.
All right, man. And also for anybody else that we appreciate everybody that's commenting on the Rabble-cast, man. We're gonna keep reading the comments along. Also, on our Twitter KBR_sports, just keep tweeting us and keep commenting on the Rabble. And we'll read your comments out loud.
Stay interactive.
Yeah, but going on also on the YouTube comments. But moving on to our next topic, Marc Gasol was just announced that he was going to be out for the rest of the season with this foot surgery he had to undergo, and it's justified to ask the question: how is this going to shake up the Western Conference now? Because now that Marc Gasol isn't there, that's their leading scorer. He averages 16.6 points a game, and you sit there and you wonder how can this affect how is this going to drop a Memphis Grizzlies team who that was their only All-Star for this season. So you sit there and you ask the question: who's now more inclined to probably move up in the West, or who's more inclined to fall out of the Western Conference race? So, guys, let me hear what you guys think, because right now the current Western Conference standings are Golden State is first, San Antonio is second, Oklahoma City's third, the Clippers are fourth, Memphis is fifth, Dallas is sixth, and Portland is seventh, along with Utah at eight. And Utah has a one-game lead on Houston, who is ninth in the West. So, guys, who do you see Memphis sliding, and then who do you see rising up to maybe take the fifth spot, or do you see them all saying the same? Rashad, let's start off with you. What do you think?
So every year you always hear the Memphis Grizzlies has a chance to make it to the championship because they're a nice rugged team that plays hard defense, hard everything. It's one of those teams you see, but now when you lose the number one piece of your team, it looks really bad. It looks really bad. It looks like, okay, this team's gonna slide out completely, which I don't agree. So I don't think that the team will drop out the playoff race because the team is still a solid team without them. They'll still be solid without them. They won't be as effective as a team, but they'll still be solid. They'll still be enough to outdo like the Jazz. Now, who I do see the Jazz sliding out and the Rockets sliding in. As far as the other pieces, everybody else is looking kind of like this. Looks like it's going to be the playoff picture for the West, especially this again late in the season. It's starting to see this is what's going to playoff is going to look like. But I don't see the Rockets not being in it. I do see the Memphis dropping down to about 6 or 7. I don't see them being 8. I see about a 6 or 7 this year instead of top 5 like they normally are. So losing Marc Gasol do hurt. It does hurt the team, but I don't see them completely sliding out the playoffs.
Okay, Kyler, what do you think?
Losing Marc Gasol, a pivotal piece in your offense, and one of the backbones to your defense, it's definitely gonna hurt the team a lot. I do think they're gonna slide down a little bit, like what Rashad was saying about round 7. Rockets will slide in, Jazz will fall down out of the top 8, and and Dallas is gonna move up, as well as Portland. This is really gonna change like the flow of the Memphis Grizzlies whole organizations and setup, because throughout the season they've been having many shifts throughout their lineup and formations and stuff like that. They even had Zach Randolph and Tony Allen coming off the bench at one point. Yeah. So without Marc Gasol, it's really going to hurt this team.
You know what's weird? Because right now, as it says, Portland and Dallas have the same exact record, but Dallas takes the tiebreaker over Portland, so they're the 6th spot. So I mean, what's the ranking that you guys see? Do you see maybe Dallas being 5th? Do you see Portland being 5th? Do you see maybe Memphis remaining at 5th or something? Because the way it's looking right now, I mean, either Dallas or Portland could leap up and possibly take away the 5th spot from the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies, I mean, right now they're in the past few games they've gone 2-1 without Marc Gasol. They lost their last game, but the 2 previous games when he didn't play, they won those 2 games. So they've shown that they can win without him.
Yeah. Now I see Portland being the 5th because the way Damian Lillard's playing right now, 5 straight games, 30+ points. That he's really trying to carry this team. He's really trying to show he can do it without LaMarcus Aldridge, without Wes Matthews, without Nick Batum. He's trying to show he can do it without them, and he's actually proving that he can. CJ McCollum stepped up big time this year. Is really showing that this team can play, especially since they're actually playing a lot faster than they were before.
Yeah.
So this is a team. If Damian Lillard can stay how he's playing, I mean, I'm not saying 30 points every night, but if he stays as efficient and as effective as he is right now, I see this team easily being 5th.
All right, Colin, what about you? What do you think?
I can kind of see them. I can still see Dallas and Portland interchangeable for 5th. Dallas is still such a great team, very offensive, and like Rashad was saying, Damian Lillard has been going off these past games, 30 points and plus 30 plus points a game. Is looking kind of like it's up in the air really. I think whatchamacallit Dallas will still be fifth and Portland will be sixth. Just because they do have a tiebreaker, I feel like Dallas will still win games as well, as much as the Trailblazers.
See, man, it's such a struggle for me because a lot of what the Trailblazers do is guard oriented. It's so based out of their backcourt, but their backcourt is exceptional. It's been really good this year.
One of the top best backcourts in the league.
Yeah, man. And right now, Portland's ranked 7th in offensive efficiency, but Dallas is ranked 11th. But then when you look at the defensive side of the ball, Dallas is 17th, and then on defensive efficiency, then Portland is 19th. So both those teams are like neck and neck with each other in both categories. And so, but it's hard for me because Memphis is 15 in defensive efficiency. So they played. Granted, Marc Gasol was the anchor of the defense.
Like that's about to drop.
Go down. Yeah. And they were 19th on offensive efficiency,
which is going to drop as well.
Do you see maybe Memphis playing maybe a faster paced game now with Marc Gasol out? Maybe more falls on Mike Conley. And
see, this is how I feel about that. I feel Zebo's going to have to start playing a lot. He's going to be more user rate out of him because Marc Gasol is out. So you have to basically now accustom your game around him more so. Yeah, Mike Conley's there, but as a big man perspective, you have to kind of focus around him more than you would Marc Gasol, who can actually is a nice offensive threat. And he's also a lot taller than Zebo. So that kind of changes the whole atmosphere of the team. Because if you go small ball, can Zebo really keep up run the floor constantly? And if you take him out, then who do you have? Who do you have really as a big man there?
Zebo is the leading rebounder.
So
yeah, I guess it's one of those things because think about it. You put Zebo in at center, right?
Yeah.
And then you run a small ball lineup with him at center. But the problem with
what if he's
the Memphis Grizzlies is that they don't have the shooting to do so. That's the only difficulty with them. Memphis is everybody's always known Memphis to be that rough and tumble team. They're not gonna score a lot of points, but what they would do is try and limit you on defense and make you play their tempo. And now without Marc Gasol, you don't have that.
You got it, but you can't.
You got to go into Zach Randolph a lot more. And Zach Randolph, like Khalid was saying earlier, comes off the bench. So it's going to be interesting, honestly. I think we're kind of sleeping on Dallas a little bit, maybe too, because Dirk Nowitzki hasn't had to carry as much weight as he's had to in the past. And Zaza Pachulia has been playing great for Dallas. And Deron Williams he hasn't played great, but he's played solid.
He's feeling rolled up pretty well.
Yeah, he's played solid. Wesley Matthews, Chandler Parsons, and all them, they're doing their thing. So, are we sleeping on Dallas a little bit? Dallas could slide into the 5th spot.
It's not that I'm sleeping on Dallas. It's just seeing how explosive on offense the Portland has been. It's kind of hard to.
But is it Portland or is it Damian Lillard?
Damian Lillard is kind of making his team play better right now because now a lot of concentration is going towards him. And it just depends. The players got knocked down their shots.
Because isn't one of those things? Because we're saying that Portland's played great these past 2 games,
but Damian Lillard,
they've all been games where he's had to score 30 plus points, and it's not like a 30 plus points that Steph gets easily in his sleep. You know what I mean? Damian has to work hard for these 30 plus points. He has to dribble a lot sometimes to get these 30 plus points. And so much is pulling your backcourt that can wear down on their legs. That can tire them out. Whereas Dallas, you see, it's a lot more team game kind of thing. They're not focusing on just getting the ball into Dirk or whatever. Everybody's kind of in the flow of the offense. Like that's what, and I would say
what makes it better.
Dallas definitely has the coaching edge with Rick Carlisle on the Portland Trailblazers because Rick Carlisle he's a championship coach, and he just knows how to get the best out of his players. And I feel like they have that edge over the Portland Trailblazers throughout the season. And I feel like coming down the stretch, Dallas might have the team with the more depth at the end of the day because Portland, at this point, when we look at their depth, you look at how they got Myers Leonard and stuff like that. But and Myers Leonard is not even that. That's like the main player because CJ McCollum used to come off the bench, and now when you have him in the starting lineup,
see that's the thing. Like they're a more complete team. Dallas is a way more complete team than Portland. But for a complete team as they are, why are they only where they are right now? You kind of get what I'm saying?
Because you got the Warriors.
Spurs. Those spots are pretty much locked. The top 4 is pretty much where it's at, where it stands. But the Grizzlies is like you're saying. The Grizzlies is just a rough, tough defensive team that can't shoot. Basically,
Yeah.
why can't you get past them at the
I
beginning?
mean, they're only 2 games behind for real.
But they're behind. I mean, you can like we're right. Marcus Gasol was great. Marcus Gasol. I mean, there's a reason they were there because
Exactly.
that team was a complete team as well for the starting lineup wise. So it's just I don't know. It's just too close to say right now. Like, but I feel like unless they just hit a drastic decline. Because think about what they did. Think about what Portland did to the Warriors.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that's the only team above 500 that did them dirty like that. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because most of their losses to teams below 500. So like you see potential in this team, like what they can actually do.
But look about what the Mavericks did to the Warriors. The Mavericks beat them too.
Was it like
Steph
though?
Curry didn't play.
Was it like
the
that
Mavericks
though?
beat them too. I mean,
it wasn't like that.
It wasn't like
You're
that,
right. It
but
was a
they
win.
won.
But it wasn't no.
Not everybody
20
wants to blow out the Warriors every
every time they win.
You know what I'm saying?
But and the Warriors team had everybody playing too.
They did.
You get so like you said, they didn't have Steph against the Mavericks.
They didn't.
Steph played. Steph had 31.
He did.
So, and Damian Lillard had 50.
He did.
So,
and
That's crazy.
Let me read a comment from Footballers America. He said that losing him hurts the NBA. It definitely does hurt the NBA because Marcus Gasol is one of the international players that brings a lot of Hispanic viewers to the NBA game because a lot of people watch and support Marcus Gasol. So definitely losing him does hurt the NBA. But we're gonna move on to the next topic and talk about Ben Simmons benching over this. We're not gonna talk about specific benching, but it kind of ties in with the benching because over the weekend Ben Simmons was benched in a game against Tennessee, but for missing one of his classes. But now it's starting to kind of.
I thought it was undisclosed academic.
He missed the class. That was the reason why he missed class. But but now we're asking the question: are is the one and done instituted rule really being effective? Because think about it, these guys they're forced to go to college. They're forced to go to college for 1 year, and most of these guys when they're coming out of high school, they know the projections that are made about them. Ben Simmons in high school was being projected as the number 1 pick already. Coming into the college season, he was already told that he was going to be the number 1 pick, so he believes he's going to be the number 1 pick. So is this one and done rule becoming irrelevant, at least for these kind of players for the star players that know that they're going to go to the NBA right after they got like Jahlil Okafor's, Karl Anthony Towns' and Ben Simmons kind of players? Is the one and done rule kind of becoming obsolete because what are they going to? Because think about the freshman level classes that you get taught at a university. You're getting taught all gen ed
things.
So does it really benefit these guys to go for 1 year and then inevitably leave if they choose to leave for the NBA? Rashad, let's start with you. What do you think?
See, this is a rule that I don't feel is needed, and it's only because it doesn't really protect anything. Kind of how like the college football, they do 2 years because you got to build size and stuff because these dudes in the NFL are nice big dudes who will just crush you coming out of high school. In the NBA, you don't really have that. You're not really taking a lot of hits and stuff like that. So all you're doing is making them do something they don't want to do. I mean, yeah, they go out and play, but it's kind of like a waste of time for you. I understand the purpose of it is to keep college basketball alive. And that so some of these players don't make the mistake about thinking they're fully developed when they're not. I understand that, but at the same time, you're not really doing anything to these players. You're not really protecting them from anything or anything like that. They're still gonna play the same they did in college. They do that 1 year, unless you go to someone like like a Coach K or Mike Calipari, someone who could actually teach you a couple of things before you go to pros. But all these players don't do that. Like Ben Simmons, he went to LSU. There's really no point in for them playing the 1 year other than to keep college basketball alive. And I mean, him coming off the bench, I mean, he still came in and like people was like, oh, teach us him a lesson, teach us him to understand, college basketball, something like that. I mean, he still came in, did what he do, dropped 21 points, did his thing. So like, the one and done rule is kind of a waste for me. I feel like just let them go straight out of high school, especially people who know they're number 1. It doesn't change. You're just making them have a chance of getting injured.
All right, Khaled, what do you think?
Well, that and also because if they go right out of high school, they aren't really like learning much. I feel like they need a little bit more time than just 1 year in college to develop themselves, not as just a player, but as a person, because that's what college is meant to do. It's help to develop your mind as well as your ideals, as well as your your skills all your talents. It basically shapes you as a person. And for the one thing, like he's not going to class. I mean, we do have those gen ed classes that are very basic. You know, you can pass them if you miss like 1 or 2 classes. But the thing is, that shows who he is as a person. Maybe he's missing a class. Maybe he's gonna miss a practice. I understand with the benching. I feel like it should have been longer than just 4 minutes. But they definitely need to keep them there a little bit longer before just shipping them off to the NBA, because sometimes these players go straight to the NBA and aren't as amazing as they are projected to be.
You know, I feel like you were going to say something, Rashad. What were you going to say?
Yeah, it's about like what Kylie just said about the benching. It wasn't really more so about how long he was like, he didn't start the game for. It's more the fact that he's the number 1 player coming out of college, but he didn't start the game. It's more so it didn't start.
Hello, caller. You're with KBR Sports, the best sports talk show your 24-hour day. How can we help you?
Hey guys, I'm back. This one's gonna be really quick. It's gonna be super quick. I'm just calling back because I'm petty. They call me Petty Wop in my circles. But real quick, the one and done rule is stupid. Get rid of it. Let them leave from high school if they want to, but they're wasting people's time and money by coming to school for 1 year and taking basket weaving. 2, this comment is directed towards Football's America. About the Steve McNair being developed thing. Steve McNair was drafted in 1995. That was Jeff Fisher's first year as head coach. Jeff Fisher made the selection. He was selected number 3 overall. He was the highest pick for an African American quarterback ever until RG3 and Jameis Winston. He didn't really play until 1997, and they made the Super Bowl in 1999. So just saying, before you say things like that, get everything correct.
He went and gave all the results, all the data.
He did all his due diligence and came back.
I'm just saying. Steve McNair, one of my favorite all-time players. That team is my favorite team, and I know for a fact that those two were coupled at the hip. I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't mistaken in saying that he had Steve McNair, because he was the one, he being Jeff Fisher, that made the selection for Steve McNair and then developed Steve McNair for 2 years before putting him in actual gameplay, then went to the Super Bowl in 1999. Just saying. No shade, just throwing out facts. Y'all have a great show.
Appreciate it, bro.
Thank you. That's hilarious. That is hilarious, man. But what I was gonna say about the one and done rule was that I was gonna say that it's, for me, it's when you're bringing these players straight out of high school, and then even some of these players that come straight out of college. I never forget the story that Shaquille O'Neal told yesterday on Mike and Mike, actually, about when they were talking about the Ben Simmons benching. And Shaquille O'Neal said before his mom let him go graduate or let him choose to go straight out of, because Shaquille O'Neal could have came out of LSU when he wanted to, you know what I mean? But he stayed longer because his mom told him, "Do you know how to balance a checkbook?" And he said no. And then she was like, "Then you're not ready to go yet if you can't even balance your own checkbook." Now, granted, now you have online banking and stuff like that, which makes times different. But you can make the argument that a lot of these players go into the NBA and they're not business savvy, because the NBA is a business. It's a men's league. It's not a league for children. It's a men's league. And when you're getting paid millions of dollars, your agents, you got to make sure you're not getting played by your agents, for one. And then 2, you got to make sure you know how to handle your money, know how to spend it wisely. Because when you give a young kid millions of dollars, I can only imagine what I wanted to do for $1 million when I was 18, 19 years old. Now imagine a guy that's been pretty much told all his life that he was the best player or best this and that all his life, and then you put him in a professional setting at that age. And now, and to your point, Rashad, about physicality and stuff, I mean, there's been plenty of players that when they got to the league and they had to adjust to the physicality of the NBA game. I mean, a player like Stephen Curry had to adjust to the NBA physicality. And from coming out of Davidson, because Stephen Curry was a small fry. Dwight Howard had to get bigger to adjust to the NBA physicality because Dwight Howard was too small. People have told Anthony Davis he still has to get into his full-on frame to be able to bang in the NBA game, because you can get injured a lot easier, even though it's not like football where you're getting hit all the time by guys purposefully. The NBA game still, they're still bigger. They're men playing against you. You're banging with men on a night in, night out basis. You drive to the basket at some point in time. And those are harder fouls than college basketball player fouls.
But here's a good example. Let's say you could go one and done. Okay, AJ McCarron wasn't really a one and done type of quarterback. He wasn't that talented. But when he came there to Alabama, Nick Saban immediately said, this man needs to gain weight. He's too little to even have a chance to even play in the pros. He made him gain 20 pounds in 2 years of straight size. Like I'm talking about eating peanut butter constantly and stuff like that. Because he knew if it was possible to go straight to the pros and he would have tried it, he would have been broken his first year because he was that frail. So you see, like it's yeah, you need to get bigger to be able to handle the contact and stuff you deal with. But it's a completely different type of build for the NFL because you are getting hit.
It is different. But sometimes
like you can play small and like look at Kevin Durant. You can play little, you know what I'm saying? Be skinny and play like that. And
but the difference is, I mean, Kevin Durant's a perimeter player whose game is predicated on perimeter jump shots. Ben Simmons has taken 3 threes all season. Yeah. And I'm saying not everybody is Kevin Durant. We just look, and Kevin Durant's like one of the most exceptional talents we're talking about. Yeah. You got very few guys that are Kevin Durant, Kobe Bryant, and Kobe Bryant still had to adjust to the NBA physicality when he first came out. So did Michael Jordan. But I mean, Michael Jordan, they're all exceptional athletes. You know what I'm saying? We're listening to the best of the best. But there have been number 1 picks and stuff to flop. The first round, top 10 lottery pick projected guys that were one and dones that didn't pan out because, I mean, not because of their size, but I mean, a lot of things go into it, but they weren't ready to.
Yeah, they weren't ready for them. But see, like, kind of like you said, he's a perimeter player, right? Kevin Durant's perimeter, so size don't really matter. But in the NFL, your size matters no matter what position you play at. No matter where you're at on the field, except as the punter, maybe it matters because you're getting hit or hitting somebody at every other position except quarterback. You take hits, you're getting hit. So you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, we did. You're right. I did when I said Kevin Durant, we did name a great player who excels from the outside, who can lanky enough, who can get to the basket and dunk it with no problem. But at the same time, they're not getting hit constantly. Like, imagine if the NBA had like hard fouls like the old school days now, and these players who are like going in frail, it'd be different. Then I can be like, okay, yeah, you need to stay different. But what the NBA is now, like you can go in skinny and be all right. Just shoot your way into victory.
But then a lot of times that result because the NBA, the grind of the NBA season, because the NBA isn't only about the physical body contact you receive. It's the grind of going from playing X amount of games in college to playing 82 games. And if your team makes the playoffs, those excess playoff minutes.
So yeah, okay. So what does playing additional college seasons have to do with anything? You still don't play the same amount of college games every year. You still play 30 to 40.
No, but your body becomes more in depth to playing higher. Because when you're younger, that's more strain on your body. Your body becomes more, how do you say, more grown and more mature as your body grows and as you become bigger and more durable. You know what I'm saying? We Steph Curry earlier in his season in his career, he had a lot of ankle issues. Recently, he hasn't had as many ankle issues because he's gotten older and his body has helped mature. That doesn't work out the same way for everybody, but a lot of times when your body becomes more mature and grows, you can deal with the grind of the season more, and you train differently also. Okay. As you become when you become a professional, you're able to endure the NBA grind and stuff like that. It's like D Sizzle commented and said, "I'm 43. Can anyone on this show help me balance a checkbook? I have to find one. I have some checks in the See, that's the thing. We don't have to manage millions.
Hey, Shaq's mama said he ain't ready for the league then.
Yeah. You're according to Shaq's mom, you're not ready for it. But I mean, when we saw when Shaq got there, Shaq handled business. Shaq's one of the best marketable superstars that's been in the NBA. Especially when Shaq was in his prime, we saw Shaq rapping. We saw Shaq on commercials. I still see Shaq.
Mixtape coming soon.
Yeah, man. I still see Shaq with Gold Bond, and him fitting into these small Acuras and Kias. I'm just like, man, Shaq, you know you're too damn big to fit in that car. Don't sell me. Come on, man. You know you got the seat pushed back to the back seat. Yeah, man. This man Shaq is still with his knees at his chest sitting in these cars. I'm like, come on, man. But Shaq is one of the best marketing stars or players that we've ever had in the game, and that's part because
he can balance a checkbook.
He's smart. And he knew how to handle the NBA business at a young age. But you could argue a lot of these young players aren't ready to accept that challenge. A lot of these young players might not have the maturity or the wherewithal to be able to know that, hey, if I get millions of dollars, I shouldn't go spend it on Lambos and this and that. Because I mean, that's a lot of what people are told that the lavish life is like. Imagine,
especially when you're an NBA player.
Yeah,
you see these people with boats and stuff.
Exactly, you know what I'm saying. But the thing is, when you become an NBA, when you're a number 1 draft pick, and almost immediately you become a celebrity. You're not just a normal person anymore. When people hear D'Angelo Russell was the number 2 pick, people will forever remember D'Angelo Russell. D'Angelo Russell won't fall off the face of the earth because they always remember he was the number 2 pick. Yeah. And they remember how much controversy came with that pick. So even if D'Angelo Russell doesn't become a star, people will always know who D'Angelo Russell is because he was such a high pick. You don't become a high pick like that. And this you don't become a celebrity. Celebrity somehow becomes attached to your name. When people see young guys like Justin Bieber, Chris Brown, and other names driving Bugattis and stuff, people are like, well, hey, I gotta keep pace.
Do that too.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it can result in people spending their money ill-advisedly, and then I mean, you do have people that hopefully you have financial advisors that help you keep your money in check, but
you need to
even then you may have some.
But see, if we're going to use that as the case, then the rule needs to be changed to at least 2 years. You got to play 2 years of college, because like here at Old Dominion, as a business major, I'm a business management major myself. I don't get into accounting. I'm not allowed to get into accounting until basically my sophomore year.
Yeah.
So that's where you first learn how to basically balance a checkbook in college. That's where you sit down and actually learn how to balance a checkbook in college. So they have to at least play 2 years of college ball.
And that's one of those things that we as colleges, people need to take a look at. And D Sizzle said, you guys see the video where police or Shaq went with the cops to play hoops with the kids. He's a brilliant PR tactician. He is. I did see that video actually. It was really like enjoyable to watch. But like that's one of the things colleges have to do, is that you have to kind of, because you're giving these guys, nobody's gonna care about a class about whatever, something history that does not apply to them. Like people, at time, everybody just goes through the gen eds. They're just walking through the gen eds. That's probably when their GPAs are the lowest, because nobody cares about those classes. But when they actually get into their majors or minor classes, they're actually interested in what they're learning. So why not in those gen ed classes or in the lower level classes when these guys are first coming in, just like what our caller said, don't when these guys are taking like basket weaving. You know what I mean? Give them classes that will actually help them. If you know this player is going to be a one and done kind of player, or is going to, I mean, I know you don't want to kind of boost you don't want
difficulty level for them. They can't do it. You can't just jump them into a sophomore level class.
I'm not saying jump them into a sophomore level class, but I'm going to say,
I was saying classes that's directed towards that.
But I'm saying, because if they do that, then it's going to egg on more one and dones, because then they kind of are learning. They're like, you're teaching them a system in order for them to succeed as a one and done. And I'm not trying to advocate for that, but I'm saying teach them stuff that is actually useful for them in the real world. If they learned it in their first year, they can go out in the real world and making millions of dollars. They can actually apply it to their actual life living. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm sorry, but me learning about English literature and learning about the story of Winn-Dixie or whatever, it don't help me. I'm sorry. It didn't help me. I mean, Winn-Dixie's a great dog and all, but it didn't help me. You know what I'm saying? Some of the stories that have you read, man, it's something else. Now, some of the stuff you can apply because you're learning about your grammar, your vocabulary, and all that. But some of what they teach you is just to fill up a stat sheet. You know what I'm saying? It's just to fill up a credit, schedule. Basically. You know what I'm saying? Just so you can get the credit and just say you're out. You know what I'm saying? But it's one of those things that it's going to be a debate for forever, because as long as they have the one and done rule, everybody will debate it. Mick Flipstein said, who you kidding? The one and dones are not going to any classes, much less an accounting class. But you never know. I mean, if they know that accounting class can help them become, or help them in their strive for
they're on the blow all that.
Yeah, and their strive to maximize the most of their money, you never know if they will go or not.
They're like, I don't need this, because so a lot of them aren't even thinking about college. Most of them thinking about just pros. So like, I'm not gonna take something difficult like that. I kind of agree with the comment, but I do have one before we go to our next segment. My last question is, players like Thomas Robinson, who he knew he wanted to stay in college, but he had to go because his sister and what happened with his mom and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So is it for those players like that who desperately need to go? Is that a different case?
That's different. That's situation. Every person's situation is different. You know what I'm saying? Every single person's situation. Some people go because of the money, because they need the money with their family. But a lot of people have the choice. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? There's plenty of players. I mean, the lottery projected players. That's I mean, there's 15 teams in the lottery. You know what I'm saying? So you got a lot of players that their circumstances are different. Number one and number two players, I don't know the story of, I mean, Ben Simmons' story, Ben Simmons' story is a unique one in itself. You know what I'm saying? Karl Anthony Towns' story wasn't the same as Ben Simmons. Anthony Davis's wasn't the same. Kyrie Irving's wasn't the same. LeBron James' story wasn't the same as some of these guys. And I'll read a comment from Cupcheck. Also, Cupcheck said, what if they just had athletes that were going pro 100%, take life skill classes to teach them that, like cooking for themselves, taxes, and dealing with the media, etc. See, I think that would help an athlete.
Yeah, but if you have stuff like that, then that's basically offered just strictly to athletes. You know what I'm saying? You have to change the whole programs around to custom to everybody to be able to do that. That's more of an academic standpoint, more so than a professional, like college sports.
Well, I'm saying, what if those are gen eds for people to take? Because then that won't just be for athletes.
For qualified.
If it's a gen ed, anybody can take that class, and they can apply to their general education. whatever
lifestyle kind of like
or requirements. It will
Yeah.
apply to the general education fulfillments that they need to fulfill in order to graduate. So even if they decided to stay beyond the 1 year, that would still fulfill that requirement that they need to fulfill. So I mean, I think that's a good idea that you could make a general education class of cooking or whatever, the life skills that they need to learn, that like an accounting class or something, so they learn these skills so they can apply it later on. And then McFlipstein also said, also the college admins are not spending their time developing curriculum for the one and dones.
Mhm.
And it's such an anomaly in the grand scheme of the student body. It would really be a disservice to the kids paying and studying. And see, that's the thing. I think that you come up with a program that won't just cater to the one and dones, but come up with a system that helps the students that are regular students, like we are on this show, that helps regular students and also helps students that, or even players, other players that are staying for more than 3 years, like Buddy Hield. He's a senior, and now we're seeing he's gonna enter the draft. And we hope
he has to.
Yeah, he's gonna have to enter the draft. But we see Buddy Hield. He's been there for multiple years, but that's why I was saying you don't want to make a curriculum just for one and dones, but you want to make don't force kids to go to college to learn nothing. You know what I'm saying? Don't force them to go to college to learn something they don't care about. That's going to result in people not going to class, not turning the schoolwork on time, and not doing the best that they can in these classes.
Taking a math class,
we all remember our freshman years. Everybody,
history of dance.
Oh my god!
I know, bruh. Theater, you're taking the history dance, you're taking theater,
history.
You're taking acting stuff. There's so many different classes you take that are 100 level classes that will not apply half the time to what you're gonna do. You know what I mean? Like if you're gonna be a professional athlete, I mean, some of them might go into acting. So I don't know. You want to take acting? Hey, do you, bro? But I feel like there's classes that can help them prepare for the world in a better way. And D Sizzle said that's a great call. I could have used a class on creative ways to prepare ramen noodles. Oh, come on.
Hey, he's right though. Hey, think about it. Hey, add the little chicken salt, and then you got to throw in the little salmon salt. Hey,
you got to throw the old bases.
Oh my gosh.
Get you some steak rubs. Just make some unique stuff.
I feel like you don't got to take a class for it, man. I feel like just living the college lifestyle, you just learn how to be a professional cook of noodles, man. Everybody got that big fat pack of noodles in their room.
Hey, like 54 pack,
24 pack, 12.
And our apartment, we got like two of them.
Yeah,
like,
two
huge things for ramen noodles, man. Just whenever you need to bust them out on the occasion, you just make them. I mean, if you go to college, you know how to make ramen noodles. Exactly. And if you don't know how to make ramen noodles, feel ashamed. Feel bad at yourself. You need to learn. It's a life skill. You need ramen noodles.
Major key.
DJ Khaled would be ashamed of you if you didn't know how to make ramen noodles.
Sensational.
Exactly. And on that, yeah, exactly. You played yourself because you didn't know how to make ramen noodles. You played yourself. I feel you. But guys, we're gonna go on to the last topic, and we're gonna talk about who the most underrated players are in the NBA. Because I mean, we see All-Star Weekend shines the light on the players that everybody feels like the fans vote in who they want as the starters. But then we also see a lot of players that are all-star snubs or players that just don't get any acknowledgement at all. So guys, who do you think are the most underrated players in the NBA? Kyle, let me hear your or actually, you can say underrated players, or you can say who your number one underrated player is. So let me hear you. What you think?
I got there's three. I feel like 1, Jay Crowder, 2, Isaiah Thomas, and 3, Mike Conley. I feel like they are definitely Isaiah Thomas and Jay Crowder. They are great players, and the fact that they led a developing Celtics team to 33 wins this season that's a testament to their what they can do to the whole organization. I feel like they need to have more props than what they have right now. And Mike Conley, like we were saying earlier, even when Marc Gasol wasn't playing with the Grizzlies, they still won games. And I feel like along with Zach Randolph and Tony Allen, Mike Conley definitely played a role in that. And even in past seasons, he's been one of the key players in making the Grizzlies go to the playoffs and keeping them in the playoffs and even knocking out the Clippers.
Yeah.
So I do think that those players definitely need a little bit more recognition.
Let me say something real quick. This man D Sizzle has me weak. This man said, "How about a class on the top 20 ways to make peanut butter?" I'm done. I can't. And then the comment before, this man has me weak. He said, "The ramen gets so tiring, you got to be able to doctor that stuff up."
Hey, he's already hooked.
I'm weak, man. Go ahead, Rashad. Go ahead.
Brother, you know I hate topics like this.
Why?
Because you know who I have to say, even though I hate it so much.
I mean, he's a great player.
I hate it so much, but I have to say Jimmy Butler.
Oh,
because
yeah.
that's how good he gets. Even though I think he's awful. I
That's
can't
why he's underrated.
stand him.
Yeah, he's underrated.
Because I can't stand him. I just can't stand Jimmy Butler because everybody says he's better than Steph and LeBron. I just hate stuff like
Not
that.
everybody.
I hate the obnoxiousness.
No, because you run into the people that try to egg
Those
you
are Bulls
on
fans,
purpose. Yeah, you
No,
know.
these are people that stand by it, fully committed. I'm talking about even
That's
when
because they
we're,
don't like LeBron and Steph, probably.
I don't want to get into this.
Go ahead,
But
go ahead.
for as well as he's played for the past 2 seasons now, for them to still say it's Derrick Rose's team, even though Derrick Rose has been on a huge decline, shows that they do not give this man his props. Even though, I mean, I give him his props for playing the whole game now. Because when we did that, me and Brendan, in our intramural game, we had to play the whole game with no sub. That joke was tiring. And for him to score 20 points and play defense like that, that's tiring. I give him props for that. He is a really good player. He was an all-star, but his injury put him out the game. He's still underrated because no one's giving him his credit. I'm definitely not gonna be one to start giving him his credit, but no one else is giving him his credit. So he's, as right now, as the most prime player in the league, he's the most underrated player that's playing in the game right now. Because they still won't say it's his team yet, when technically it is.
That's a good
He's
point.
definitely leading it.
That's a good point. I didn't even think of Jimmy Butler, honestly, but
Yeah,
for me, on my list of underrated players, I had Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum, Isaiah Thomas, DeMar DeRozan, John Wall.
Oh yeah, John Wall.
And Karl Anthony Towns, actually. And I don't know, out of those players, the player I feel like that I would say hasn't gotten his credit, because Damian Lillard does get credit. I mean, he got snubbed in the All-Star game this year, and we saw how he responded with 51 points on the Warriors. I mean, come on now. But I feel like Damian Lillard, he gets credit because, I mean, people like Rashad said, people don't even acknowledge Jimmy Butler's team, but people do know. But I think after LaMarcus Aldridge left, that's when people were like, it was Damian Lillard's team. And now, I mean, I don't know if it's LaMarcus Aldridge was there, if you want to say Damian Lillard's team or LaMarcus is the leading scorer, so you can say who you want to say. But I feel like so many times Damian Lillard doesn't get his credit as a all-star point guard sometimes, because he can get overshadowed by players like Russell Westbrook and Stephen Curry and Kyrie Irving and Chris Paul and guys like that. And Damian Lillard's sitting there in the Western Conference like, bro,
I'm nice too.
I'm here. You know what I mean? But then I also feel like DeMar DeRozan is underrated because DeMar DeRozan is a baller, man. I mean, Toronto's second in the Eastern Conference. These past 3 to 4 seasons, they've been in the top half of the Eastern Conference. And I mean, granted, their playoff success hasn't been there. DeMar DeRozan hasn't really gotten his credit as granted, he got voted to the All-Star game this year, but it was in Toronto. So, I mean, that's something to be said for that also. But most times when people are naming their top shooting guards in the league, it's always Clay, James Harden, Dwayne Wade, or somebody, and then Jimmy Butler, or they go right over DeMar DeRozan. It's not even like he's there. You know what I mean? So it's like, dang, man, like what the brother got to do to get some recognition out here? And then CJ McCollum has just been balling, like Rashad was saying. I mean, the way this man he went from averaging about like 11 or 6 points or so last year to averaging 21 points this year. And he's shooting 45% from the field and shooting 40% from 3-point range. That's incredible.
That is.
And you know, now that you see what his game is also elevated because he's in the starting lineup. But the fact this man's shooting practically 45% and 40% from the 3-point line and then 45 from the field goal percentage is incredible. You know what I'm saying? And he's averaging 4 assists on the season. So him and Damian Lillard have been, you know, one of the best backcourts. Of course, everybody's gonna pick Steph and Clay as the best backcourt. I mean, we could have a debate about that on another day, because I mean, you got John Wall and Bradley Beal in Washington. You got DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry in Toronto. You got I just said their names. You got DeMar DeRozan. Wait,
Damian Lillard.
Yeah, you got Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum, and Portland. Thank you, Colin. Yeah, you got them in Portland. So there's all these backcourts that you could say, man, you could argue who's the best backcourt there is in the league. So I think those guys are definitely underrated. And then Karl Anthony Towns, I feel like he's just gone under the radar. I don't know because none of the rookies teams are really winning like that. Kristaps Porzingis' team isn't winning like that. But Karl Anthony Towns is having the best season of any of the rookies. The man's averaging a double-double, and it's just like nobody's acknowledging it.
Because he's playing in Minnesota.
I mean, and that team has great young talent. They have
great young talent. You got Andrew Wiggins there, so it's kind of hard to outshine someone like Andrew Wiggins, who came out as this this mega star out of college.
But the crazy thing is, you see their work ethic sometimes, and you see reports of the work ethic, and some will argue that Karl Anthony Towns is a harder worker than Andrew Wiggins sometimes. Because Andrew Wiggins he's still kind of like a playful kind of guy, while Karl Anthony Towns is more serious. Because I mean, he does have Kevin Garnett there to mentor him and keep him in line. Whereas he's sometimes they say Andrew Wiggins can be a bit sensitive to that tough mentorship. So he kind of shies away from it while Karl Anthony Towns embraces it. And I mean, the man, Karl Anthony Towns is shooting 53% from the field. That's better than any of the rookies. That's better than Jahlil Okafor, who was argued to be the best offensive rookie. And Karl Anthony Towns is averaging more points than him. He's averaging double-double. He's averaging 10.2 rebounds. And he's shooting 36% from the three-point range. And he's shooting 53% from the field. So, and also underrated stat for big man. He's shooting 84%, practically 85. He's shooting 84.8% from the free throw line. That's a big deal because this is the crazy thing, because when people look at Anthony Davis's numbers from Anthony Davis's rookie season, Anthony Davis averaged like 13 points and I think about 10 or 9 rebounds. And this guy is on a better projection than Anthony Davis. And Anthony Davis is a guy that just dropped 59 a few days ago. And last year, everybody was talking about Anthony Davis could possibly be the best player in the league coming out of last season after they saw how he had the Pelicans playing last season. So, Karl Anthony Towns, man, people keep your eye on him.
Hey, can I say something about Damian Lillard?
What's up?
I feel for my man Damian Lillard. Let me tell you why.
Wow.
For y'all that don't know, please go look it up. The year Derrick Rose won the MVP, they have identical numbers. From what Damian Lillard has right now and to what Derrick Rose won MVP, it's identical numbers. So why can someone who won MVP with those numbers win the MVP, but someone with the same numbers can't even make a playoff? I mean, make the All-Star game.
That's because that's
see, like that. That is a great question.
See, here's the thing. Because for one, this is one
Hey,
thing.
He's also in the West too.
He's also in the West. But here's one reason why I believe he's going to get snubbed from the All-Star game, because one, Steph Curry's in the starting lineup, and the fans vote on this. So one spot's taken by Stephen Curry. The next spot was taken by Kobe Bryant. And then you also have Russell Westbrook, who's in there. I don't know if Russell Westbrook, I don't think he started. I can't remember if he started or not. But then you also have Kobe Bryant, who was in there. And then, you know what I'm saying? So you have all these guys that could get into the All-Star. And then Anthony Davis is in the starting lineup, I think. And I think Kawhi Leonard was also in the starting lineup. So then the reserves consisted of like Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Chris Paul, and all these other All-Stars. And if Kawhi Leonard didn't start, then it would have been Kawhi also. And I'm trying to think of other guys who made the All-Star game. I can't remember all of them, honestly. Did Marc Gasol make it? I can't remember if Marc Gasol was.
I think.
I can't remember if Marc Gasol was an All-Star or not. I don't know if he had his foot was still bothering him, because they had some All-Star reserves get pushed above Damian Lillard. Was the crazy thing. Some All-Star reserves, but that's because but the reserves are choices by the coaches. And then James Harden also was a reserve. He was also a reserve. And let's just assume that Chris Paul, Klay, and James Harden were already your reserve guards. That's 3 guard spots already taken as a reserve. If Russell Westbrook started, that's already 3 guard spots taken up by those 3 guys. And then, I mean, the West is just deep with guards also. So it's like, it's tough.
So, okay. So do we see, since that was Derrick Rose MVP numbers, do we see Damian Lillard as an MVP candidate possibly?
No,
not at all. Even with the same MVP numbers.
No, because Derrick Rose's team was number 1 in the East. That's the thing. Having a number 1 record does a lot for you.
It does.
Stephen Curry's not the MVP right now. His teammate number 1. You know what I'm saying? Russell Westbrook. If Russell Westbrook's Thunder would have been number 1 last season, Russell Westbrook would have been the MVP, not Stephen Curry. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Having they put a lot on record. So when your team is number 1 in either conference, that's what gets you the MVP. And Derrick Rose did it. I mean, Derrick Rose was the heart and soul of that Chicago Bulls team when he won that MVP. And remember, LeBron was a villain during that season. So, because you can look at the numbers, and LeBron's numbers were amazing in that season. When you look at the 2010-2011 season stats for LeBron and Derrick Rose, LeBron's stats were amazing. I don't care what anybody says. You can hate him all you want. His numbers were amazing, but
always amazing.
You know what I mean? But part of him not winning MVP had to do with the fact that
Derrick Rose
people didn't like him. I mean, when you leave Cleveland and you go to Miami, everybody's like, oh, you're cheating, man. This isn't going to be fair. Yeah, everybody's like, just come on, man. You can't go to him. You can't. Oh, yeah, and Dirk Nowitzki also made the All-Star game. That's right. He also made the All-Star game. So that's another spot reserve that goes away. But and Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant started. That's it. I was like, who's the other person I'm thinking? I can't even remember it. Kevin Durant started. That's right. But guys, it's going to wrap it up for today's show. It's been KBR Sports, the best sports talk show of your 24-hour day. Coming to you on WODU Studios, the best in college radio. Follow us on our KBR Sports Twitter page at KBR_sports, where you can tweet us live and also see our topics for the day prior to the show. And also you can listen to us like many people are doing on Rabble. And you can listen to us also on Spreaker and also catch our podcast on iTunes. And don't forget, tomorrow night, it's the event for with Work Release. Well, WODU Studios is partnering with Work Release. The event starts at 9 o'clock. So everybody, Throwback Thursday.
Get there and get your groove on, old school style.
9 o'clock to 2 p.m.
Yeah, exactly, man. Everybody come out, show y'all support, and have some fun, man. So, and don't forget, we're on every Monday and Wednesday, 10 a.m. to. Honestly, I don't even know whatever time it is, because we get on late anyways, had the time, because I mean now we have a show before us, so sometimes it depends on however the times work out. So who knows? Who knows? Whenever we're on, guys,
just be on, enjoy a great show every time.
Just come watch. Come look at 10 o'clock. Give us about 10 minutes.
And then enjoy a great show. You'll still get your hours worth of greatness.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? There'll be a grace period, but we'll be here. You guys know we'll be here.
A little small sound.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So the hour is 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. So just be watching the vicinity. You know what I'm saying? Just be ready.
Be here.
Yeah. Oh man, is that all, guys? Oh yeah, the number to call in for anybody who wants to call in is 757-683-4405. You guys want to call in on future shows, and make sure you tweet and comment topics that you guys want to get heard on the show, because we'll talk about them. Whether it's something about whoever you feel like somebody's did something dirty to somebody, or RG3 is this, somebody, Steve McNair is that. This man,
if y'all even pull out the cricket, I can go any sport.
If you want Rashad
any
can talk
sport.
Rashad can talk
any
sport.
sport.
I'm not gonna talk about no
we don't
cricket.
discriminate sports out here.
I sure as hell do. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not talking about no cricket, bro. I'm sorry. You guys can tweet us for topics. Don't throw me no cricket. Don't do that. Don't throw me no water polo. I'm not doing it. But throw me some of the
water polo.
Yeah, if the sport isn't on the ESPN clicker of sports menus, don't throw it to me. I'm not gonna talk about it. You can throw me boxing. You can throw me soccer. You can throw me MLB. Throw me football. Throw me basketball. I'm not talking about no cricket. I'm just making it. Cricket probably is on the ESPN list. Yeah, actually.
Can we talk about bowling? My man Belmonte.
You know what, Rashad?
Hey, I can tell you some bowling now.
Bowling. Rashad loves some bowling.
I can tell you, I'm going pro. Just wait on it.
This is actually the list. NHL. Yeah, you can talk about NHL. I love me some NHL. Yeah. I feel like it's soccer on ice. That's how I view
soccer
the NHL. It's soccer on ice, man. It's interesting. The college football,
hockey sticks,
esports, video gaming now. It's coming up, y'all. Don't sleep on it. Video gaming sports is coming up.
That's on ESPN.
Hey, that MLG, yo.
Yeah, man. They had it on the X Games the other day.
Yeah.
And then NASCAR, golf, tennis, the Olympics, of course.
Right.
Racing. Horse. No, don't click on the cricket. Stop.
Hey, it's on there.
No,
it's on there.
No, guys, you already heard. No, you heard my standings. No,
cricket is on there.
Cricket. I'm not doing the cricket. Stop it. You guys are ridiculous. I refuse. But anyway, like I was saying, what other sports are on here? There's also. See, Khalid clicked on my page and made me had to go to a different page.
I'm sorry, I didn't know it was touchscreen. That's fire.
Yeah, come on. MMA, the WNBA.
Oh yeah,
women's
MMA.
basketball, RNBB, rugby, chalk. Wait, what? Chalk is what? Hold on a second. The CFL, the SB's endurance, man. Wow.
Hey, so all those sports. If you have something to talk about, bring them into our comments.
What's the sport with the broom on the ice and they gotta be pushing the thing?
Broomstick?
No. What is it?
I don't know.
I'm just amazed at chalk. Wow, what is that?
Hey, just bring it in. Just bring in your topics for us, and we're good.
All right, y'all have a great day.